We are. Right.
Gobble gobble, bitches. It's time for yet another enthralling edition of the Red Zone Warriors SmackDown. And this being Thanksgiving week, Jay went ahead and listed a few things that he's thankful for.
I did, Rob. I did. Thanksgiving is the whole holiday season. I love it, and I like to be thankful for things and let those around me know what I'm thankful for. So really, I kind of listed five things that make me thankful this year, and one of them is that I'm not Raj. The Chump Cup is well gonna stay where it belongs, and maybe this year Raj will learn his lesson and the karma won't come back next year. The second thing I'm thankful for is that I'm not Scott because, well, who wants to be Scott? Scott doesn't even want to be Scott. I made the playoffs. That's the third thing. I made the fucking playoffs. And the fourth thing is that I'm not a member of the sad vagina division. And the fifth thing is that I'm not Scott. And I might have mentioned that earlier, but it seems like it just might be relevant to mention it again because I'm really, really thankful for that. So that's all I got. Rob, back to you.
Yeah, it can't hurt to reiterate that fact. I mean, who wants to be the Hamburglar after all, except, well, the Hamburglar? All right, well, those are some great things, Jay, to be thankful. Really appreciate that. Hell, I'm right there with you on every single one of those, especially the fact that I made the playoffs. I got the first round bye, no less. All right, let's break down the playoff race real quick. For those of you jerk-offs that don't actually look at our Facebook page, where I spent several minutes laying this out for all you jack-offs. Jay, what vagina division queefs are headed to the playoffs, and who's still fighting for a spot?
Well, the division championship here is going to come down to Scott Hamburglar Norris or Deldre Pink Sparkler Carr.
Hmm.
Both guys here tied at 7-5. Scott does have a 52.1 lead going into this, and that will be the deciding factor if they both win this week. So that what it means is that Deldre, in order to get the bye, Deldre needs to not only win his matchup with Brad's AJ Unchained this week, but it looks like it could come right down to the wire with that. He also is going to need to outscore Scott because I have a feeling Scott's going to do some damage here this week. Rob?
Yeah, so even if the Sparkler does manage to win his slappy bitch fight with Bradius, he still needs the Hamburglar to lose. It still needs to happen. Or they both win, like you mentioned, he has to score at least 52.2 points more than the Hamburglar, so good luck there. And that seems to be a lost cause because the Falcoholics, of course, have the champion this week. And everyone, of course, gets a win versus the champion as I did this just past week. So sorry, Deldre, but is it looking good for you, my friend? It's not looking good.
No, it is not looking good. And so Scott is likely bye-week bound. The Hamburglar is gobbling up the wins the past few weeks, and Deldre is going to get the number 2 seed in the Vag division. With a record of 4-8, with a point total of 1,575.1, it looks like Brad's AJ and Chain will take up the remaining spot for the Vag division in the playoffs. The wild card, if you will.
Hmm.
Both Robbie Gould in the fifth and My Year Is Over have better records than Bradius's team, but Ryan is the closest, and he's trailing by 61.5 points, and Eric is right out, uh, being 243 points behind. So, honesty, this looks like it's gonna stick this way in the vagina division, but if Ryan can pull off a win and get 61.5, 62 points more than Brad, hey, he might pull it off. Maybe.
Yeah, it's a tad on the unlikely side. That's what they call that. Which brings us to the fact that those two play each other this week in what may be the most meaningless game ever. The actual outcome doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter who wins or loses. It just simply matters that Ryan outscores Brad by 62 points, and that's what it comes down to secure his 6th spot in the playoffs. All right, so let's just take a look at this week's all-important matchups and then the not-so-important matchups this week. So Jim, of course, you must be thrilled. Jimmer, you must be thrilled that your playoff berth is not on the line this week because, frankly, you have to play me, the champ, your nemesis, if you will, as I am 6-0 all-time against you, Jimmer. 6-0 all-time. I just needed to just say that and make sure it's clear that I'm 6-0 against you all-time. And I don't really see that changing this week. So basically, Jay, what I'm saying here is that I own his bitch ass and I fuck all of his whores.
Well, you do pay for that because, well, that's what whores are. So I don't know if I'd be proud of the fact that you fuck his whores. But hey, that's just me. You know. Listen, all right. So Clark Griswold, Dave, this game actually is also pretty meaningless. Look, I'm already playoff bound, and nothing can change that. So, just have a happy Thanksgiving, man, wherever you are. And, thanks for the warm-up week before my playoff matchup with the Jimmer. It's nice to have, a week where nothing really matters all that much. Hey, Jim, 2 words. Antonio Brown. That's right, he's back, bitch. I beat you last time without him, and this time I'm going to bend you right over. Get ready, Susan. All right, now as mentioned earlier, the Hamburglar gets the champion this week. Fresh off a 70-point ass beating handing down from the champ last week, the champion has nothing left in the tank, clearly has no pride left, so this will likely be a rout, and a rout to win is exactly what the Hamburglar needs to keep his first-round bye locked up.
That is, he needs a win and a rout. And who better to play than the champion, clearly. So, Deldre, you could have hoped for a better matchup for your pal, the Hamburglar there. So we'll see what happens. All right, the Pink Sparkler has AJ Unchained this week and desperately needs a win and a high point total to have any chance of catching the Falcoholics. According to the projections, AJ Unchained is supposed to win this one by actually just under 20 points. And AJ himself needs to put up a respectable number to make sure he holds his 6th playoff spot position. So it's a very, very important matchup, this one.
And it actually is, because it is true. If Brad doesn't put up a decent, if he bombs this week and puts up like an 89 or a 90 or even 100, I mean, one of those guys puts up, if Ryan or someone like that, he puts up, 180 points, you could catch him. And wouldn't be good for old Brad to miss the playoffs with his 4-8 record. I tell you that right now. All right, now lastly we have Robbie Gould in the 5th versus my year's over in a matchup that again basically means nothing, not a zip, zilch, and zero. Ryan has to pray that Brad puts up a champion type point total and that his team drops 200 to have any chance of making the 6th playoff spot and stealing it from Brad. Rob, did you know that Robbie Gould in the 5th's namesake, Robbie Gould, is actually the 3rd worst kicker in fantasy through week 12? Man, to think he was a 5th round pick.
Wow, I did not know that. What a conundrum. I mean, you pick the guy in the 5th. He's your namesake. You really can't cut him. But you play the 3rd worst kicker in all of fantasy, the 29th kicker, worst kicker in the NFL. That's
Eric
brutal.
Eric.
Yeah, he can. All right, well, to wrap this up, Hamburglar, Jay and I have a little advice for you heading into Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow. Number 1, Let the wife actually cook the fucking bird before diving in head first like you did last year. I mean, seriously. It's raw. You can get salmonella. Probably doesn't even affect your digestive system. But needless to say, just let her cook the bird first. It's much better. Number 2, try and pace yourself, man. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. All right? I didn't make that up, but it really works in this case. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And lastly, be respectful. Be respectful to your fellow dinner guests. Allow them to get a little food too, man. They're hungry. They've also looked forward to Thanksgiving. Let them get a little turkey, a little stuffing, a little cranberry. Don't take it off for yourself. And don't be already making leftover turkey sandwiches before they even finish their first course, man. It's just rude. It's just rude. Okay?
Unbelievably rude.
Unbelievable. All right, well, that's it for your weekly ass beating this week, ladies. So keep sucking. We out.